So, tonight we're re-diving into something most history books tend to skim over. The lives of women working in Victorian brothels. I know, it might sound like a strange bedtime story, but it is actually a fascinating and often forgotten part of history about real women just trying to get by. And hey, if you're enjoying these stories, I'd really appreciate a like or a subscribe. We're heading back to Victorian London. And trust me, you'll be thankful for your mattress by the end of this. I'm always curious to know where you're listening from, so feel free to leave a comment with your location and the time. The wallpaper, faded floral print, is peeling at the corners where damp has seeped in. There's a distinct smell in the air, coal smoke from countless chimneys. The nearby Thames, with its muddy, sewage-laced scent, that feels good. Just taking a moment before the day really begins. Fresh bread. Someone shouts from a few streets away. The voice bounces between buildings. And something sweeter. Chemical. Perfumes and cosmetics. The everyday tools of the job. The floor is cold under your bare feet as you reach for the wool shawl hanging from the bedpost and wrap it around your shoulders. You break the ice with your finger. The cold stinging your skin. Then splash some on your face. It shocks you, awake. Your breath catching for a second before evening out again. That's better. Warm and snug. You've been in this house nearly 2 years, which makes you something of a regular. You've seen girls come and go. Some moved on to better places. Others disappeared back into the poverty they came from. A few got sick and never got better. You roll your shoulders, easing some of the stiffness. That helps. Just breathe. The room you rented had no heat, and you could see your breath in the air as you worked desperately to finish a piece that just might, earn you enough to pay rent for the week. It's always wild to think people are falling asleep to this. All around the world, you weren't tricked and abandoned by a gentleman, left pregnant, and without support, though that too was a common story. A girl you knew, Jane, came to visit. You'd worked together once. She looked different now. Healthier, better dressed in a plain but warm wool dress. 2 meals a day, a decent bed, weekly medical checks. She paused, watching your face. You hear heavy footsteps on the stairs. Likely Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper. Then the sound of coal being shoveled, a fire being lit downstairs in the parlor where clients wait. Mrs. Winters keeps things running tightly, and being late isn't acceptable. The madam, Mrs. Cartwright to her face, though the girls call her Carty when she is not around, expects everyone downstairs and presentable by noon. You open the tin on your bedside table and pull out a lump of bees. You warm it between your hands, then smooth it over your chapped lips. Another small comfort. Mrs. Cartwright insists the girls take care of themselves. The smell of coffee drifts up. Real coffee, not a cheap substitute. This house is known for offering small comforts. Afternoons, bring a few regulars. Businessmen sneaking away during lunch. Evenings and nights are the busiest, with the place full into the early hours. You'd been brought up properly, in a religious home. Most men who come here don't want reality. They want fantasy. A break from their normal lives. Something that makes them feel important, or just seen. You feel the pull in your muscles. Your nightgown. Plain cotton, unlike the silks you wear for work, brushes your ankles as you move toward the wardrobe. But your parents were gone, your brothers scattered looking for work, and here you were, slowly starving, one stitch at a time. You'd earn in one night what you're making a week here, and you wouldn't be killing yourself with this. Nothing that would make you stand out on the street. That's important. Brothels aren't illegal, but public solicitation is. The police usually ignore well-established houses, especially the ones that pay bribes. But discretion still matters. You feel yourself sinking a bit deeper into the mattress. Your breathing slows. In and out. Easy. She nodded toward the pile of sewing. She brought food. Real, hot food. A meat pie. Still steaming. Not the worst kind of place, but far from the fanciest. You shared this small room with another woman, still asleep in the bed across from you. You worked 14, sometimes 16 hours a day, straining your eyes in dim light. Your fingers cracked and bleeding in winter. And for what? Barely enough to keep a roof over your head. But London was full of women like you. Thousands, all competing for the same poorly paid jobs. Her breathing is steady and deep. As you shift, the mattress springs creak softly. Lily. They call her. She's younger than you. Maybe 19 to you're 24. Auburn hair. The kind customers seem to like. She once said she came from a Manchester factory. The noise of the machines left her partially deaf in one ear. It's early, maybe 5 or 6 in the morning. You read not in a luxurious 4-poster bed. You read lying on a slightly uneven horsehair mattress, with a thin wool blanket pulled up around you. The sheets aren't freshly laundered. They're changed once a week at best, and they carry a faint smell of cheap lavender water that doesn't quite cover the mustiness. All right, find a comfortable spot, take a slow breath, and let yourself relax into whatever you're lying on. Congratulations! You just woke up in London. 1857. The height of the Victorian era. The room is cold, for the small fireplace is tightly rationed, especially in the mornings. You're in a room at the back of a brothel in London's Haymarket area. You'll stretch your legs, flexing your toes, feeling the tension ease as you relax. Outside, London is already stirring. You can hear horses' hooves on cobblestones, the rattle of carts, and street vendors calling out. This is your life now. They call you Mary here. Not the name you were born with, but the one you use now. You sit up slowly, the blanket slipping to your waist. Between the beds is a chipped ceramic basin and pitcher. The water inside is topped with a thin layer of ice. London winters are harsh. Now, let's talk about how you ended up here, in this room, in this life. Because the story might not be what you expect. You weren't kidnapped or sold into this as a child. Though that did happen to some girls, especially the very young ones. No, your path was more ordinary. And probably more typical of how many women ended up in this work. You were a seamstress. Skilled, with fast fingers and a sharp eye for detail. The British Quarterly once remarked that compared to the grind of being a dressmaker's apprentice, factory work seemed easy. And they weren't wrong. You lean back now, letting the wall support you. You remember the moment things changed clearly. It was winter, 3 years ago. You hadn't eaten in 2 days. Your fingers were so cold, you kept pricking them with the needle, leaving tiny blood spots on the fabric. She sat with you while you ate, trying not to seem as hungry as you were. There's a place, she said. A house off Haymarket. The madam's strict but fair. No nonsense. No cruelty. You didn't answer right away. That memory sits with you now. The house is waking up around you. Your roommate stirs, mumbling in her sleep and turning over. Time to get up properly. There's a routine to follow, expectations to meet. The house runs on a schedule. Mornings are for bathing, cleaning, and rest. But for now, in this quiet moment, you don't rush. You are selling a dream, she says. Men don't want to see the real lives of working women. You nod slightly at the thought. She's right. You stand, stretching fully, arms reaching toward the low ceiling. During the day, when not working, you wear simple clothes, a plain dress, sturdy shoes. You pick a dark blue dress, slightly faded but carefully mended, and lay it on the bed. Dressing now is slower than it will be later, when you might have to change quickly between clients. Now you can go at your own pace, enjoying the rhythm of it. Stockings first, then your petticoat, then a corset, not tightly laced, just enough for support. As you dress, you think about the day ahead. Tuesdays are usually slow, maybe a few regulars. Mr. Phillips, the bank clerk who visits every other week and mostly talks about stamps. You breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Steady.com. That's it. A group of children runs past, below your window, their high-pitched voices rising above the noise. The original lengths, structure, and meaning are fully preserved. A dog barks nearby. A vendor starts his call. Knives to grind, knives to grind. Or the shy young man who calls himself Smith and never stays more than 15 minutes. Outside, the city grows louder. Cold today. Mrs. Winters says it might snow later. What's still strange to you is how ordinary it all seems. She's only 13. Too young for the house's main business. Regular meals. Decent food. In the worst brothels, girls might go hungry if there are no customers, or be fed scraps barely fit to eat. The routine is comforting. Face first, then neck, arms, underarms, and finally, a quick rinse of your most private areas. Full bathing happens twice a week in this house, Wednesdays and Sundays, and the copper tub brought into the kitchen. That's actually more often than many working-class women manage. But here, Mrs. Cartwright knows that healthier girls earn more money. First is breakfast, then helping with the morning cleaning. Every girl has assigned chores. Yours include dusting the parlor and polishing the glasses behind the bar. Mrs. Cartwright believes keeping busy prevents trouble, even when not working with clients. The girls are expected to stay occupied. Mrs. Cartwright took her in after finding her begging on the streets, half-starved. Now she helps the housekeeper, runs errands, and sleeps in a small room near the kitchen. In a few years, she'll likely join the other girls. You comb your thick, dark brown hair. It falls to the middle of your back when it's loose. For daytime, you twist it into a simple knot at the back of your neck. They say the air's different there. Cleaner. You can breathe better. Some do it. Most don't. The money, though better than in many jobs, doesn't always go far. Some of it covers rent and meals. Some goes toward clothes or essentials for work. And some is spent on small comforts that make this life bearable. Later, when working, you'll style it more carefully. Maybe using a hairpiece, to add curls or volume. But for now, she's protected, which is more than many children in London can hope for. Put a little aside each week. Even a shilling, it adds up. Your face looks better than it did during your seamstress days. Steady meals have softened your features, added some color to your skin. There's always something. A tooth that needs pulling. A dress that's ripped beyond repair. A friend in trouble. Life has a way of eating up any savings. But your eyes, those have changed. They're more guarded now, more aware. You've seen things the young girl who once came to London couldn't have imagined. This life, the one society calls shameful, happens right beside everyday London. Instead, you finish getting dressed, lacing up your boots with steady, practiced hands. The movements are familiar, calming. Your breathing slows in and out as you settle into the routine. The baker brings fresh bread to the brothel, just like he does to the boarding house next door. The coal man, the ice seller, they come and go just the same. You sit back on the bed again, just for a moment. Her face is freshly washed, her brown hair neatly braided. Certainly, below is your rephrased script, revised with minimal word changes, simpler vocabulary, smoother sentence structure, and a consistent, neutral tone. There's a quiet knock at the door. Hot water. There comes a voice. Young Betsy, the maid of all work. Come in, Betsy, you call. The door opens, and she walks in, carrying a heavy jug of steaming water. Morning, Miss Mary, she says brightly, pouring the hot water into your basin. Thank you, Betsy, you reply with a smile. Had your breakfast yet? Yes, Miss. Cook made porridge with there's coffee in the kitchen if you want some. And fresh bread, too. This is one of the things that makes this house better than many. Once Betsy leaves, you wash up properly with the warm water, enjoying the heat against your skin. Cleaned up, you feel more yourself. You glance at your reflection in the small mirror on the dresser. Its silver backing is worn and spotted with age. You push the thoughts aside. No point in dwelling. Now fully dressed, you're ready to start the day. Lily finally stirs and sits up, yawning. Morning, she mumbles, pushing hair from her face. What time is it? Just past 7. You say plenty of time. She nods, stretching her arms. Had that dream again, she says. The one about the seaside. Have you ever been married? Once, you reply, recalling a rare family outing. Brighton, when I was little. I'd like to go someday, Lily says wistfully. It is a common dream among the girls. saving enough to get out of London and start over somewhere else. You tell her. Though you're not sure you believe it, she nods. But you both know how hard it is. The thought weighs on you for a moment, but then you let it go. Your shoulders drop slightly as you exhale. That's better. I'll see you downstairs, you tell her. Don't be long. Mrs. Winters was stomping around earlier, and you know what that means. She's in a mood. Lily agrees, grimacing. I'll hurry. The narrow hallway is dim, with worn carpet down the middle. 4 more bedrooms line this floor, all similar to yours. Below are the public rooms, the parlor where clients are received, a small dining room, the kitchen, and servants' quarters at the back. Mrs. Cartwright's room, the nicest in the house, is on the ground floor, where she can keep an eye on everything. You leave the room, gently closing the door behind you. From the outside, it's neat and proper. Clean curtains in the windows, a freshly painted door. Nothing suggests it's a brothel. There's no red lamp, no obvious signs. Then slowly release it. Your shoulders relax. The tension flows out of you like water. You're ready now. You hear the housekeeper's voice in the kitchen, giving instructions. The usual sounds of a household starting its day. Bacon sizzles in the pan, the rich smell making your mouth water. Your stomach gives a quiet rumble. She always knows who's who by their footsteps. Customers come through word of mouth, discreet ads, or tips from cabbies and hotel staff who get paid for sending men here. The house is tall and narrow, squeezed between others on a quiet street. Your hands work automatically while your thoughts wander gently. As you walk downstairs, the smell of coffee gets stronger, mixed with bread baking and bacon frying. You see the cook at the stove, her broad back to you. Voices echo in the street. Vendors, children, neighbors. The city's rhythm rises and falls, like breath, like waves at the seaside. Lily dreams of in and out, soft and steady. Betsy is setting the table in the corner where the servants and girls eat. Mrs. Winters is reading a letter, her glasses perched on her nose, her gray hair tucked neatly under her cap. 8 chairs are squeezed around it, enough for the 5 girls, plus Mrs. Winters, Betsy, and the cook. Mrs. Cartwright eats alone in her sitting room, part of the boundary she keeps to manage the house effectively. The smell of bread grows stronger as the cook pulls a loaf from the oven, golden brown, its crust crackling as it cools. An ordinary scene. A quiet moment before the day begins. Your stomach growls. The wooden steps creak underfoot. A familiar sound. There's comfort in that rhythm, in the predictable steps that carry you through the day. Your muscles feel loose. Your mind is still. Despite everything, there's peace in being here. In surviving one more night in a city that swallows so many. Your body matches the pace. Breathing in and out. Calm and steady. You run your hand along the banister, smooth from years of use. The house is warming now, as fires are lit in the main rooms. That damp London chill is fading, at least inside. And just for now, it could be any house, any morning. You pause at the bottom of the stairs, just for a moment. The kitchen door is open. Warm light spills into the hall. You take a deep breath, letting it fill your lungs. You step into the kitchen, into the warmth, the smell of coffee and wood smoke, the soft chatter of the morning. "Morning, Mary," says the cook without turning. "Sleep well." "Well enough," you reply, moving to help Betsy set the table. There's comfort in the routine, the familiar weight of the plates, the neat placement of the cutlery. Outside, London stirs to life. A church bell rings in the distance. You move through the kitchen, relaxed and focused. The kitchen table is large and scarred from years of use. You sit in your usual spot, the wood worn smooth by time. There's comfort in that, in the sense of connection, of others who sat here before you. It's good porridge, thick and creamy, made with milk and sweetened with a bit of another one of the small luxuries that sets this house apart from the poorest places. You settle in, the seat familiar and steady beneath you. She's a widow in her 50s, came here after losing everything. The first spoonful is sweet and smooth. You close your eyes briefly, savoring the warmth and comfort. She never comments on the work, just cooks and keeps to herself. She believes proper food is key to good health. Then Sarah, nearly 30, sharp, with numbers and helping Cartwright keep the accounts. Josephine, the newest girl, comes last, her eyes still red from crying. Lily appears to, hair loosely pinned up, still looking half asleep. You take another sip of coffee, savoring the rich taste. She slips into the chair beside you. Just as Mrs. Winters pours coffee, Cook sets down a big pot of porridge with a satisfying thud. "Eat up while it's hot," says Cook. Her face is flushed from the stove's heat. There's something calming about this kind of work. The steady movements, the quiet transformation from dusty to clean, from dull to shining. If a police officer did step inside, they wouldn't see anything openly illegal. Just a private home with several young women living in it. Suspicious, maybe, but not enough to act on. You scoop a full bowl. The steam curls up, fragrant. You dust each item gently, putting them back in their exact positions. A cat moving carefully along a garden wall. A boy running by with a note in his hand. Mrs. Cartwright notices if anything is even slightly out of place. The clock ticks quietly, adding to the steady rhythm of the morning. Feather duster first, for larger surfaces, then a slightly damp cloth for the smaller details. The motions are familiar and calming. Just enough focus needed to keep your attention without tiring your mind. It is decorated in what might be called a respectable style with a few touches of luxury. Sturdy dark wood furniture upholstered in red velvet, slightly worn at the arms, but still soft. Heavy curtains, in the same color, are pulled back during the day to let in what little light manages to pass through London's constant coal smoke haze. Cook comes to herself as she kneads dough for today's bread. Overhead, you hear Lily's light footsteps as she tidies the beds. Normal household sounds, ones that could belong to any ordinary home. A few carefully chosen paintings hang on the walls, mostly landscapes, plus one mildly suggestive classical scene of draped nymphs. Nothing too obvious, nothing that would instantly mark this as a brothel to someone just passing through. One by one, the others join you. First, Emily, a petite blonde who's been here about 6 months. There's an unspoken rule. No talk of business this early. Instead, the conversation drifts to ordinary things. The weather. A story about the butcher's boy slipping in the alley. Whether the greengrocer's wife might be expecting again. Almost missed breakfast, you murmur, handing her the porridge. It's hot and strong, with sugar for those who want it. You hold the cup in both hands, the heat seeping into your fingers. It smells rich, slightly bitter, comforting. A reminder that despite the nature of the work, this house is still a home. People still live here. Eat, sleep, talk, laugh. Worth it for 10 extra minutes in bed, she replies with a sleepy smile. The coffee is real, not chicory, like in most working homes. Breakfast is mostly quiet, normal talk, everyday topics, the kind shared at breakfast tables all over London. That sense of normalcy matters. You feel yourself ease into that quiet moment. Your breathing is deep and slow. The food warms you, gives you energy for the day ahead. After breakfast, the day's work begins. The house runs on a strict schedule, with tasks assigned to each girl. Not just to keep things orderly, but because Mrs. Cartwright believes routine and responsibility help keep things orderly and avoid the chaos that often affects less organized houses. Today, your morning tasks include dusting the parlor and polishing the glassware in the small bar area. Repetitive chores that keep your hands busy while letting your thoughts wander. The parlor is the main public space in the house, where guests are first received. That's intentional. Keeping up appearances protects everyone. You begin dusting, moving steadily around the room. Around you, the house carries on. Mrs. Winters is giving Betsy instructions on how to properly clean the kitchen range. The mantel holds a few ornaments. A porcelain shepherdess, a small brass clock, and 2 decorative urns. Through the window you catch glimpses of the outside world. A maid beating a rug in the small backyard of the neighboring house. Next, you head to the bar in the corner of the parlor. It's simple. A cabinet with a few bottles of spirits and glasses. Most clients are offered a small glass of sherry or brandy when they arrive. A polite gesture, something to ease the start of the visit. You pick one up, breathe gently on the surface, and begin to wipe it with a soft cloth in slow, circular motions. The glass squeaks faintly as it clears, catching the dim light and sparkling highlights. The repeated action is almost soothing. Inhale as you start the circle. Exhale as you finish. Your hands move with just the right amount of pressure. Enough to clean, not enough to risk breaking the delicate crystal. The glasses need polishing. Even when unused, the city air leaves a thin film on them. The doctor's visit changes the pace of the day. Most of the morning will be spent in exams, done in Mrs. Cartwright's private sitting room, temporarily turned into a consulting space. Each girl is seen separately, and results are written in a small notebook. Mrs. Cartwright keeps locked in her desk. Time passes quietly as you work. The light outside shifts slowly, casting soft-moving shadows on the floor. Their fresh smell mixes with the warm, yeasty scent of bread rising nearby. You hear heavy footsteps in the hallway. A man steps, and then Mrs. Cartwright's voice, softer than when she speaks to the girls, calm and professional. Once a week, the doctor checks every girl for signs of illness. The laundress only handles sheets, towels, and larger pieces. Most of you do your own small loads on Wednesdays, before bath time. Your forearms flex with the effort. It feels good. A small sense of strength and control. Your hands, despite the soap and water, are still soft. A necessity. After being inside all morning, you take a moment to breathe. The air ice and tea fresh, in the countryside sense. London is always tinged with smoke, but it is cooler, clearer than indoors. Then, noticing your face turn skyward, she adds, "See something interesting up there?" You tilt your head up, letting the pale winter sun warm your face. A rare moment of calm. No tasks, no talk. Just air and light. Your breath deepens naturally, chest rising with it. That feels good. Just a quiet moment for yourself. Mrs. Winters is heating tea. And Cook made those currant buns you like. Clients don't want to feel rough or calloused skin. You follow Lily inside. The kitchen's heat wrapping around you like a thick coat. The contrast makes your fingers tingle as blood returns. It's one of Mrs. Cartwright's firmest rules. And part of what gives this house a good reputation. A clothesline runs from the house to a wooden post. You hang your things carefully, using wooden pegs to hold them in place. The air is cold but dry. Good for drying, as long as it doesn't snow. It's cooler here, with a stone floor and a deep sink. It's not perfect, but it helps, and the weekly checks catch problems early. Still, you know that luck doesn't last forever. Few women stay in this work for more than a few years without catching something. It is a risk trading the near certainty of hunger in respectable jobs for the possible dangers here. You pump cold water into the copper basin, then add a kettle of hot water to warm it slightly. Now, with noon approaching, it's busy with meal prep. Cookies rolling out pastry for a meat pot, her strong arms dusted with flour. Mrs. Winters sits in her usual chair, quietly mending a stocking. Betsy moves between them, learning by watching and doing. In many brothels, disease spreads easily, harming both the women and the clients. The water turns cloudy, with tiny soap bubbles catching bits of light in soft rainbow colors. Here, anyone showing symptoms is taken off duty right away and treated. It costs more up front, but it keeps the house running in the long term. You've seen it before. A cough that doesn't get better, sores that don't heal. The signs that mean someone will soon be gone. Taken to a charity hospital if lucky, left to suffer if not. Your thoughts drift to simple things. The afternoon ahead, the book you've been reading in your spare time, Dickens' latest, borrowed from Sarah who got it from a client with a bookshop. The new ribbon you might buy if business goes well this week. Small things. Clothes, concerns. You've learned not to dwell on the past or look too far ahead. This job teaches you to live in the moment. 1 hour, one task at a time. The sound of the front door opening and closing brings your mind back. Good morning, doctor. Thank you for coming promptly. It's Wednesday, the day for medical visits. You place the final polished glass back in its spot and smooth the cloth with your fingers. You take the cloth to the kitchen, where Mrs. Winters is now watching Betsy prepare vegetables. Carrots and onions being chopped for the midday stew. Parlor's done, you tell her. Shall I help here until the doctor calls for me? She glances up from checking Betsy's knife work. No need. He's starting with Josephine. Then Lily. You've time for laundry if you like. Each girl is responsible for her own personal washing. Undergarments, stockings, cloths for monthly use. You fetch your laundry basket from the cupboard off the kitchen and head to the scullery at the back of the house. Washing clothes is physical but satisfying. There's rhythm in the movements. Rubbing soap into the fabric, working it between your fingers, rinsing thoroughly. This quiet task gives you space to think. The doctor's visit always reminds you of the risks, illnesses that can damage the body and eventually kill. So far, you've been lucky. Mrs. Cartwright insists on precautions with all clients. You wring out the last piece, a cotton chemise, twisting it tightly to get rid of the water, carrying the damp laundry. You step outside into the narrow yard behind the kitchen. The yard is small, just some flagstones and a few potted plants, but it is open to the sky. The back door opens, and Lily leans out. He's almost finished with me. You're up next, she says. You smile and lower your gaze. Just the usual. Clouds, sun, freedom. She laughs softly. She gets the joke. Well, come in before you freeze. The promise of warmth and food is enough. The kitchen is the heart of the house, the warmest place where everyone gathers during free time. Lily hands you a mug of tea. You wrap your fingers around it, enjoying the warmth. The steam carries a slightly bitter, earthy scent. You blow gently across the top, watching the ripples spread. There's something comforting in that cause, an effect simple and steady in a world that often isn't. How was it? You ask Lily, quietly, referring to the exam. She shrugs. Same as always. Cold hands. A few questions. Wrote it in the book. I'm fine. She hesitates, lowering her voice. Josephine isn't though. I heard Mrs. Cartwright say she's on rest for a week. Medicine 3 times a day. You nod. Josephine has looked pale lately, tired, coughing more than usual. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But it's a reminder. Illness is never far. A bell rings from the front. Mrs. Cartwright is calling the next girl. That's you, Lily says, taking a bite of her currant bun. Don't worry. He's in a good mood today. Barely poked at all. You set down your tea, take a steady breath, and head toward the stairs. You leave your tea with a small sigh of regret. It had just reached the perfect temperature. But the doctor won't be kept waiting. His time is valuable, and his services are in demand across several houses like this one. Walking through the house toward Mrs. Cartwright's sitting room, you automatically smooth your dress and adjust your hair. Professional habits learned over 2 years always present yourself well, even for something as clinical as a medical checkup. The sitting room has been prepared for the doctor's visit. The small rosewood desk is cleared of its usual papers and ornaments, now covered with a clean white cloth. On it rest the tools of his trade, a stethoscope, small glass bottles of different solutions, a notebook, and a pencil. The armchair has been pushed aside to make room for a straight-backed wooden chair, placed where the light from the window is best. Dr. Harrison is around 50, with graying hair and a tidy beard. Unlike many doctors who work in this line, he does not treat the women with disdain or unnecessary harshness. His manner is professional, his touch clinical rather than punishing. He wears a wedding ring and once mentioned children in university. You sometimes wonder what his respectable family might think of his work with women like you. I'm Mary, he says, glancing up from washing his hands in a basin. How have you been? Any concerns to report? It's his usual opening, a small but important courtesy that acknowledges you as a person, not just a body. It matters more than it should. Well enough. Thank you, doctor, you reply. No concerns. He nods, drying his hands with a clean towel. Good, good. Well then, let's begin. Mrs. Cartwright sits quietly in the corner, present as a chaperone and to record the results, but placed so she cannot see the actual exam. Another small form of dignity in what might otherwise feel undignified. The exam is brief, but careful, listening to your breathing, checking your heart rate, looking at your throat and eyes. Then the more private part. It's quick and impersonal, his hands protected by thin gloves. You've learned to disconnect during this part. Your mind drifts to your book, the taste of the bun you'll eat afterward, the feel of sunshine in the yard. All seems well, he says at last, stepping back and removing his gloves. Carry on as usual. He makes a note in his book and nods to Mrs. Cartwright, who stands and shows you to the door. In the hallway, she says quietly, "Send Sarah in next, please," before returning inside. The exam leaves you feeling slightly empty, as it always does, not because of pain, there was none, but because of being reduced to a set of body parts to be checked and judged. It's necessary, yes, for everyone's safety, but still, it leaves a strange hollowness. You return to the kitchen, give Sarah the message, and reclaim your now cooling tea. The solid mug feels grounding in your hands, pulling you back into yourself after the clinical detachment. You take a slow sip, then reach for a bun. It's still slightly warm, the currants sweet and soft against the plain dough. The hallway clock strikes 12. Noon already. The morning has passed quickly, as it tends to on busy days. Soon, the house will shift to its afternoon rhythm. Customers might start arriving around 1 businessmen taking long lunch breaks. Mostly regulars who know the quieter hours mean better service and less waiting. You finish your tea and bun, brushing crumbs from your dress. There's time for a quick stop in your room before the afternoon begins to check your appearance or change into something more suitable for receiving clients. The stairs creak in their familiar way as you climb to the upper floor. The house is quiet now, that short pause between morning chores and afternoon business. Even the sounds outside seem softer, as if the street itself is taking a breath. Your room welcomes you with familiar sights and smells. Small, yes, and plain by wealthy standards, but yours in a way few spaces have ever been. The bed where your day began. The chest that holds your clothes and few belongings. The window that shows a small patch of sky above the rooftops. You catch your reflection in the little mirror. Your cheeks are still slightly flushed from the kitchen, your hair still neat. You look like any other young woman in London. Nothing about you marks what society calls a fallen woman. No scarlet letter, no visible sign of judgment. The thought brings a wry smile. The hypocrisy still surprises you sometimes. How the same society that shames women like you creates the need for this life and supplies the customers who make it profitable. But you don't dwell on it. Thinking too much won't help with the afternoon ahead. You open the chest and choose your outfit, not your finest. Those are saved for evening, but something a bit nicer than your work dress. A blue cotton dress with a touch of lace at the collar. Respectable, but appealing. You change quickly. You're used to dressing and undressing efficiently. The fresh dress feels better against your skin, lighter than the heavier morning one. You check your hair, adding a pin or two, and pinch your cheeks for color. No makeup yet, that's for evening. Day clients expect a more natural look, keeping up the idea that this is all spontaneous. Ready now, you sit on the edge of the bed, breathing slowly, in through your nose, out through your mouth, preparing for the shift from your private self to your professional role. That boundary is important, a way to keep a part of yourself safe inside the work. Your body feels relaxed. Your mind is clear. The bed supports you, grounding you. You run a hand along the blanket beside you, feeling its rough texture. Real, solid. Present. From downstairs comes the sound of the front door opening, then closing. Voices in the hall. Mrs. Cartwright's polite greeting, then a man's deeper reply. The afternoon has started. You stand, smooth your dress, and take a final deep breath. As you exhale, your shoulders drop, and the tension flows out of you. You're ready. The doorknob feels cool as you turn it. The hallway stretches ahead. The stairs lead down into the life of the house, continuing as always. Each step is steady. You're breathing calm. Your posture straight. Just like that, you move forward into the afternoon, into whatever it may hold. The parlor is already in use when you reach the bottom of the stairs. Mrs. Cartwright stands near the fireplace, one hand resting lightly on the mantel as she speaks to a visitor. The man has his back to you, middle-aged, judging by his posture, in a neat dark coat that's well cut but not flashy. Likely a businessman. You pause in the doorway, waiting to be acknowledged. Mrs. Cartwright looks up and nods slightly. Your signal to enter. Ah, and here's Mary now, she says smoothly. Mary, this gentleman was just asking for some company. The man turns, and your first impression is confirmed. Around 45, with gray at his temples and a weathered face that suggests he spends time outdoors. He looks polite, but slightly uneasy. A new customer. Then, how do you do, sir? You say, offering a small curtsy, not too deep, just proper. Your voice shifts slightly, softer, more refined. The tone you've learned through observation and practice. Charles Wilson, he replies, bowing a little. Likely not his real name, but that doesn't matter. Would you care for a drink, Mr. Wilson? Mrs. Cartwright offers, gesturing toward the small bar you polished earlier. A glass of sherry, perhaps, or brandy if you prefer. It's part of the routine. The drink helps create the illusion of a social visit instead of a business meeting. Most men accept, using the moment to observe the women and settle their nerves. Sherry would be lovely, he says, and Mrs. Cartwright pours it gracefully. You take the chance to study him. His clothes are good, but show what businessman, doing fairly well, not rich. His hands are slightly rough, with clean trimmed nails. Someone who still does physical work, possibly a shopkeeper or tradesman. Mrs. Cartwright hands him the glass, then excuses herself smoothly. I'll leave you to get acquainted. The blue room is available whenever you're ready. She leaves quietly, closing the door behind her. Now, it's just the two of you. The fire crackles softly. Outside, muffled city sounds. A passing cart, a voice calling, a train whistle in the distance. Please, sit, you say, gesturing to a chair by the fire. Make yourself comfortable. He sits carefully, a bit stiff, nervous. You sit across from him, arranging your skirts with ease. Not too close, not too eager. The dance has its rhythm. Is this your first visit to Mrs. Cartwright's? You ask, though you already know. He takes a sip of sherry. Is it that obvious? You smile gently. Not at all. I just haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before. I know all our regulars. That seems to relax him. He leans back slightly, shoulders easing. Yes, it's my first time. A colleague gave me the address, said it was respectable. That word again, respectable. So important in this world. The polite cover that allows men to do what they deny wanting. Mrs. Cartwright runs a very proper house, you reply. Everything here is handled with care and discretion. He nods and sips his drink. His hand is steadier now. The patterns of polite conversation are settling in, familiar and comforting despite the setting. And you, Miss Mary, was it? Have you worked here long? A common question. Part curiosity, part assessment, part small talk. Nearly 2 years, you say. The truth, no need to add more. The conversation continues lightly. The weather, a recent show at the Crystal Palace, a vague mention of his trade in tea and spices. Nothing too personal, just enough to smooth the way. You observe him as he speaks. His tone is careful, but not cold. His eyes meet yours, calm, not shifty. He seems lonely, maybe a widower, or someone with a long sick wife. He may be looking, not just for physical comfort, but for warmth and presence. As he finishes his drink, you feel the shift. The polite talk has served its purpose. Would you care to continue our conversation in a more private setting, Mr. Wilson? You ask, gently. He sets his glass down and nods. Yes, I believe I would. You rise, feeling the warmth in your muscles. You extend your hand, not insistently, just an offer. This way. Then he takes your hand briefly, then follows you through the hall and up the stairs. The blue room is on the first floor, not any girl's room, just a shared space for day callers. It's simple but pleasant, a bed, a washstand, a chest with what's needed. The encounter itself is straightforward. Mr. Wilson is respectful, not rough. He stays the full hour, though the physical part takes little time. The rest is quiet, conversation, his head on your shoulder, your hand smoothing his hair. That comfort, the illusion of being cared for, is part of what he paid for. When time's up, a hallway clock chimes, no awkward reminders needed. He dresses quickly but not rushed, trying to keep some dignity. "Thank you," he says, handing you a small extra coin. "You're very welcome," you reply, automatic but honest. He was an easy client, clean, polite, uncomplicated. That counts for a lot. You show him to the stairs. Mrs. Winters is already there to escort him down. Her quiet handling ensures he won't cross paths with anyone else. That discretion is part of the house's reputation. You return to the blue room. Now comes the part no client sees: the cleanup. You strip the bed, gather the linens for laundry. A fresh sheet from the chest, a flick of your wrist to spread it, smoothing it down. The pillowcase changed, a used one added to the pile. You wash up at the stand for cleanliness, but also to reset, to create a boundary between clients. Each encounter separate. It matters. The dirty water is poured into the slop bucket. You refill the basin, tidy the towels, and reset the soap. You check your appearance. Hair slightly mussed, dress wrinkled where he held it. A few quick fixes. Your reflection looks back, unchanged. Still you. This pause after a client is oddly peaceful. A breath between tasks. A moment to just stand. Feel the floor. Listen to the quiet background noise. Ticking clock. Sounds from the kitchen. Faint voices below. You breathe in, then out. Shoulders easing. Letting go. Ready again. The hallway clock chimes 3. The day moves on. You gather the used linens, close the door behind you, and head down the back stairs to the scullery, where they'll be added to tomorrow's wash. In the kitchen, Lily and Emily sit at the table, sharing tea. They glance up as you enter. "Wilson," Lily asks, pushing a clean cup toward you. "New one, right?" You nod. "Pouring tea. Seems nice enough." "A widower, I think." "Tea merchant." These chats are routine, a mix of gossip and practical info. Knowing what to expect helps. "Better than my afternoon," Emily says, grimacing. Old Mr. Peterson again talks about his snuff-box collection for 45 minutes. Then 5 minutes of, well, you know, and always smells like those lozenges he sucks. You smile sympathetically, settling into a chair. The solid seat is welcome after standing. "Well, at least he's quick about it." Emily snorts. Small mercies. This quiet companionship is one of the job's small gifts. A sense of shared understanding. You don't need to explain yourselves here. You just are. The kitchen is warm and comforting. Cooked chops, vegetables for dinner, her knife tapping in steady rhythm. Bread bakes in the oven, the second batch for the day. You sip your tea, its warmth spreading through your chest. It's good, one of the house's small kindnesses. Mrs. Cartwright knows that comfort matters. Well-fed, cared-for girls work better and stay longer. "Anyone else booked this afternoon?" you ask, reaching for a piece of seed cake. Lily shakes her head. "Quiet day. Sarah had a visitor earlier, and Josephine is still resting, following the doctor's advice. Mrs. Cartwright is in her office, doing the accounts. A quiet afternoon isn't a bad thing. The real business happens in the evening. Once the regular customers arrive after work, or the occasional gentleman stops by after his club. Afternoons tend to be slower and less predictable. You break off a small piece of seed cake, enjoying its dense, slightly sweet taste. Cook has a way with these simple foods. Nothing fancy, but well made, using quality ingredients. The caraway seeds add a distinctive flavor, aromatic and a little spicy. "I might go out for a bit," you say, after finishing your cake. "Need some hairpins and writing paper." Anyone want anything from the shops? Running small errands during quiet times is allowed, even encouraged. Mrs. Cartwright believes fresh air is good for the girls, and that brief glimpses of ordinary life help keep them satisfied with their situation. As long as you return well before the evening begins, there's no issue. Both Lily and Emily decline. So, after finishing your tea, you head upstairs to get your shawl and purse. The small leather purse contains your personal money tips from customers and the small weekly allowance Mrs. Cartwright provides beyond room and board. Not much, but enough for minor purchases and an occasional treat. Your shawl is dark blue wool, warm, though plain. It wouldn't draw attention, nothing that sets you apart from other working women out shopping. You wrap it around your shoulders, feeling the familiar weight settle in place. The wool is slightly scratchy at the neck, but in a comforting way, grounding you in your senses. The streets outside are full of afternoon activity. Delivery carts rattle over cobblestones, servants run errands, and street vendors call out their goods. You join this busy flow, anonymous in your simple dress and shawl. No one would guess your line of work. You look like any young woman going about her business. There's a freedom in being unrecognized. In these brief outings into regular life, the quiet joy of walking at your own pace, choosing your own direction. Your muscles move easily over the uneven pavement. Your breath deepens naturally with the exercise. And the cool air feels good after the warm air inside the house. Your first stop is the haberdashery, a small shop tucked between a greengrocer and a bookbinder. The bell over the door jingles as you enter, and the shopkeeper looks up, glasses perched on the end of her nose. "Afternoon, miss," she says, neutral but not unfriendly. "What can I get you today?" "Hairpins, please," you reply. "Black ones, medium size." She nods, reaching under the counter for a small box. 6 pence for a dozen. Good quality, these won't bend like the cheap ones. You count your coins carefully. Not that you're short on money right now, but thrift is a habit that sticks. She wraps the hairpins in a small paper packet and hands it to you with a polite nod. Next is the stationer's. 3 streets away. You buy a packet of writing paper, some envelopes, and a new pencil. The elderly man behind the counter is more talkative than the woman at the haberdashery, commenting on the weather and asking if the paper is for writing to a sweetheart. You smile and respond vaguely, playing the role of a proper young woman with ease. These small interactions with the outside world have their own kind of satisfaction. Pretending things are normal, a brief break from your real life. For these few minutes, on these few streets, you could be anyone, a shop assistant, a governess, a daughter running errands. But the illusion has limits. Some streets you don't walk. Some shops you don't enter. The proper tea room where ladies gather isn't for you. The church, with its towering spire, seems to watch you silently. Even in anonymity, you're reminded of your place. Your final stop is the bakery, where you treat yourself to a small luxury, a jam tart. The pastry is still slightly warm, the strawberry filling sweet and tangy. You eat it as you walk, enjoying each bite, licking a drop of jam from your finger with quiet delight. Small pleasures, immediate comforts. That's the real currency in this life. The walk back to the house is slower, more relaxed. You're not in a rush. The movement feels good after a morning indoors. Your body moves smoothly, muscles working in familiar patterns. Your joints stretch with each step. There's comfort in that, in your body simply functioning well. Your lungs fill and empty. Your heart beats steadily. Your eyes scan the detailed patchwork of London's streets. Just being, just existing. By the time you return, afternoon is turning to evening. The light is changing, shadows growing longer, and the air is tinted with the golden glow that comes before sunset. You unlock the front door with your key. Each girl has one, a sign of Mrs. Cartwright's trust and good management, and step back inside. The house already feels different, filled with quiet energy. Evening preparations are underway. You hear movement upstairs and voices calling from room to room. The pace is shifting from calm afternoon to active evening. Mrs. Winters meets you in the hallway, her practical face holding its usual look of mild disapproval. "There you are," she says. "Mrs. Cartwright wants everyone ready by 7 tonight. We've had several messages. Might be a busy one." You nod, already adjusting your plans. "I'll start getting ready," has Cook said, "when dinner will be 5:30. Early tonight, because of the bookings." She eyes the packages in your hands. "Got what you needed?" "Yes, thank you." You hold up the packet of hairpins. She nods, satisfied, and walks off toward the kitchen, her keys jingling softly. Mrs. Winters doesn't dislike you. She's fair in her way, but her job requires her to stay at a distance from the girls. She supports the work without being directly involved in it. Upstairs, the house is busy with focused activity. Doors are open along the hallway. The girls move from room to room, borrowing things, giving advice. Evening prep is personal, but it's also shared, each woman responsible for her appearance. But everyone helps with what's hard to manage alone. In your room, you find Lily already halfway into her evening dress, struggling with the buttons down the back of her green silk gown. You set your things down and step in to help, your fingers quickly fastening the small, fabric-covered buttons. "Thanks," she says with relief. "I thought I'd get started early, since Mrs. Winters said it might be a full night." "Smart idea." You finish the last button and step back, looking at her outfit. The green suits you, brings out your eyes. She turns toward the mirror, patting her auburn hair, which is already styled high with extra hairpieces for fullness. "You think so? Not too flashy, not at all. It's elegant, but eye-catching, perfect." This kind of back-and-forth compliments and reassurance is part of getting ready. The evening outfits are a kind of costume, a uniform for the roles you're all about to play. They're more detailed than daytime clothes, sometimes more revealing, but still within limits. Mrs. Cartwright doesn't allow the flashy looks found in lower-end places. No loud reds or heavy makeup. Lily heads off to finish her preparations, and you begin your own. First, a more complete wash than the quick one after Mr. Wilson. The water in the basin is cold now, but refreshing. You splash it over your face and neck, then wipe down your body with a cloth. The chill raises goosebumps, a sharp but not unpleasant feeling that makes you feel alive. From your chest, you take out your evening wear, a deep blue silk dress, a little worn with age, but still stylish. The color works well with your dark hair and eyes. The cut flatters your figure without being too suggestive. It's one of 3 such dresses. You rotate carefully to make them last. Good clothing is an investment in this line of work. It draws better clients and earns higher fees. You dress methodically. First, fresh undergarments, fine cotton chemise and drawers. A small comfort, so different from the rough materials you wore back when you worked as a seamstress. Then the corset fastened in the front, then turned and tightened. Not too tight. You need to breathe easily, move freely, but tight enough to create the fashionable silhouette. Next come the petticoats, adding volume to the skirt. And finally, the blue dress settles into place over the foundation layers, like the final piece of a carefully layered confection. There's a quiet satisfaction in building this image, in constructing a look. The physical sensations anchor you, the slight pressure of the corset, the gentle swish of petticoats at your legs, the cool, smooth feel of silk against your skin. Hair is next. You undo the simple daytime knot, brushing out the dark waves until they shine. The new hairpins come into use right away as you shape a more styled arrangement, not as detailed as a lady's maid might achieve, but neat and flattering, with soft curls framing your face and the rest pinned securely at the back of your head. A light touch of cosmetics completes the change, nothing heavy. Mrs. Cartwright insists on a natural look. Just a little rice powder to even the complexion, a hint of rouge on the cheeks and lips, carefully blended to avoid anything that looks false. The result is subtle, but it works a gentle boost to your natural features, a healthy, fresh glow. The last detail is scent. Not strong perfume, but a light lavender water, dabbed at the pulse points, wrists, behind the ears, and at the hollow of the throat. It rises softly with your body's warmth, a clean, pleasant smell that covers any trace of the day. You step back, looking at yourself in the mirror. The transformation is complete. You're no longer just a working woman. You're something more polished, more appealing, not quite a lady. That illusion wouldn't hold, but a woman of certain charm and interest, someone worth spending time with, worth paying for. The hallway clock strikes 5:30, dinner time. You head downstairs, the silk dress whispering with each step. The added weight of the evening wear shifts your posture back straighter, steps more deliberate. The physical difference supports the mental shift from your private self to your professional role. Dinner is served in the dining room, not the kitchen, another sign of the change from day to evening. The table is simply but properly set, with clean cloths and decent cutlery. Mrs. Cartwright joins the meal, sitting at the head of the table in a dark purple silk gown. Her presence raises the tone, a reminder of the standards she holds. The food is plain but filling beef stew with vegetables, fresh warm bread, and a rice pudding with raisins, enough to fuel the evening's work. Wine is served, just one glass each. Enough for a slight warmth, not enough to dull focus. Conversation flows easily. The meal is a shared moment before the night's work begins. You sit between Sarah and Emily Lilly across from you. Josephine is missing, still recovering, as the doctor advised. I heard Mr. Henderson might be coming tonight, Emily says, tearing off a piece of bread. Haven't seen him in weeks, Sarah replies, spearing a bite of stew. Business trip to Glasgow, I heard. He usually comes on Thursdays. These updates continue through dinner. Who might visit, who's been gone, which regulars to expect. It's part gossip, part preparation. The men you all see become characters in a shared story. Their preferences and habits known to all. Mrs. Cartwright listens more than she speaks, sometimes adding a detail or correcting something. Her role is layered: boss, guardian, enforcer, sometimes even advisor. She keeps a professional distance, but she's not harsh. As the meal winds down, she speaks to the group. As Mrs. Winters may have mentioned, we have a number of bookings tonight, and possibly more walk-ins. Mr. Harrington has requested Emily. Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Benson are due at 8. Both are open to whoever's available. A few messages mention potential visitors as well. She pauses her gaze, circling the table. I expect everyone to carry themselves with the usual decorum. Remember, it's quality, not quantity, that builds our reputation. This is part pep talk, part reminder. The message is clear. A busy night is good for earnings, but standards must stay high. That's what sets this house apart, balancing business with certain values. As Cook and Betsy begin clearing plates, Mrs. Cartwright rises, signaling the end of the communal meal. I'll be in my office for the next hour, then in the parlor to receive guests. Good evening, ladies. With that, she exits, her purple dress rustling softly behind her. The girls linger a little longer, sipping wine, savoring these final quiet moments before the night begins. You finish your glass, enjoying the warm, fruity taste. Your body feels relaxed and ready, comfortably full. The dining room's warmth surrounds you. It's a peaceful pause before the work begins. Your breath deep and steady, your thoughts calm and focused. Just this moment. One by one, the girls leave back to their rooms for last touches. To the parlor to set up, or the kitchen for a final cup of tea. You stay seated a little longer, savoring this stillness in the middle of the house's rising rhythm. Eventually, you rise to. The silk settles around your legs. Your muscles move easily. Your balance adjusts without thought. The sensations ground you, remind you of your body. The moment you straighten your back, lift your chin, ready. The evening stretches ahead, uncertain in detail, but familiar in shape. There will be clients, old and new. There will be charm, interest, desire, the service you provide, the talk, the silences, maybe even a few surprises. But that's all still to come. For now, you begin the transition from day to night, private to public. You walk to the parlor, where the first scene will begin. Your footsteps are measured, your breathing calm. The silk rustles quietly with each movement. One hand glides lightly along the wall, fingers brushing the wallpaper. Present, aware, centered. The parlor has been set for the evening. Heavy curtains drawn, gas lamps adjusted for a warm, soft light. The fire burns steadily, pushing back the London chill. A decanter of sherry waits on a side table, with small glasses, sugared almonds, and fancy biscuits. Sarah is already there, arranging herself on one of the sofas, her burgundy dress suits, her pale coloring, her blonde hair styled high with small pearl pins. She looks up as you enter. "You look lovely," she says, giving your outfit a quick, professional glance. "That blue suits your eyes." "Thank you," you reply, settling into an armchair. The fabric is a little worn, but still comfortable. The velvet feels soft under your fingers. "Quiet still," she adds. "Early yet." Mrs. Cartwright said the first booking isn't until 8. She adjusts her gown with practiced hands. "Might start slow, but probably pick up later." It's the end of the month, payday. That reminder reflects Sarah's past. She once worked as a shop clerk and still has a sharp eye for patterns and timing. Mrs. Cartwright sometimes lets her help with the accounts for this reason. Your conversation shifts to normal things. A new shop that's opened nearby, whether cook's cough needs a doctor, or if the coal delivery will arrive tomorrow as promised. Everyday topics, like any home. Gradually, the parlor fills. Emily arrives in pale green, her dark curls framing her face. Lily follows, glowing in rich emerald that highlights her fair skin and auburn hair. Even Josephine appears, though she's under orders not to work tonight, just to socialize. Keep up connections that may turn into business later. Mrs. Winters brings in tea, part of the nightly ritual. Unlike the day's sturdy pottery, the evening tea is served in thin china cups that glow slightly when raised to the light. The tea is the same, but the presentation matters. It adds a layer of refinement. Mrs. Cartwright insists on you take your cup, feeling the heat seep through the delicate porcelain. The rim touches your lips, smooth, familiar. The tea's taste is comforting, but gives you a slight lift. The routine of it, the careful holding, the slow sipping, helps settle your mind into the right frame for the evening. Each movement is intentional, calm, and focused. The conversation continues softly around you, a gentle background to your own thoughts. Your body is relaxed but alert, ready. The corset offers support. The silk feels pleasant on your skin. You're conscious of your posture, something trained into you over 2 years. Straight, but not stiff. Shoulders back, chin lifted just so. The hallway clock chimes 8, its sound echoing through the house. At the same moment, a knock comes at the front door. The first client has arrived. Mrs. Cartwright appears at the parlor entrance, her purple gown moving gracefully. "Emily, Mr. Harrington is here. He's asked for you." Emily sets down her cup, nods slightly, and rises smoothly. She follows Mrs. Cartwright. The transaction will happen in the madam's office. Payment, requests, limits before Emily brings him upstairs to her room. Not the daytime guest room, but her private evening space. Carefully prepared, clean linens, maybe a vase of flowers, a touch of cologne, a few drops of scented oil in the lamp. The rest of you stay where you are. The conversation continues, but the room's mood has shifted. The night has officially started. Within 10 minutes, there's another knock. This time, it's Sarah, Mr. Lawrence, a regular, punctual, every other Tuesday. Lily leans toward you, voice low. "Cook says we might get someone new tonight. A banker, maybe. Seems wealthy." Mrs. Cartwright was very particular about putting out the best sherry. This kind of news matters. Knowing what to expect helps you prepare. The right approach. Different clients want different things, and it isn't always about the physical act. Some want conversation, others seek sympathy, and a few simply want admiration. Understanding what each man truly desires beyond the obvious is a key skill in this work. "Did she say anything else about him?" you ask quietly. Lily shakes her head. Only that he's new here, but came recommended by someone Mrs. Cartwright trusts. Another knock interrupts your talk. This time, it's your name that Mrs. Cartwright calls. You place your teacup down, smooth your skirts, and rise with practiced ease. Your muscles respond fluidly, each step deliberate and steady. You're aware of the gentle sway of the dress, the soft rustle of silk moving over your petticoats. Every motion is balanced and controlled. In the hallway, Mrs. Cartwright stands beside a gentleman you don't recognize. He's tall, perhaps late 30s, with a well-fed look of affluence and the posture of someone used to command. His clothes are high quality, nothing flashy, but expertly made, speaking of real wealth rather than ambition. "Mary, this is Mr. Hamilton," Mrs. Cartwright says with her usual composure. "Mr. Hamilton, may I introduce Mary, one of our most accomplished young ladies?" You offer a small curtsy and extend your hand with a polite smile. "A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hamilton." He takes your hand briefly. His grip is firm but not forceful, his sharp gray eyes assessing you with appreciation, though without the obvious leering some display. "The pleasure is mine, I'm sure." Mrs. Cartwright gestures slightly toward her office. "If you'll step this way for a moment, Mr. Hamilton, we'll sort the arrangements. Mary, please wait in the parlor." This is standard procedure. Financial matters are never handled in front of the women, maintaining the pretense that this is a social visit rather than a business deal. You nod and return to the parlor as the two disappear into the office. Lily raises an eyebrow when you come back. The new one. You nod, taking your seat. Seems respectable banker or lawyer, maybe from his clothing and manners. She nods, understanding the quiet assessment. Different types of men need different approaches. Respectable ones often want more pretense, more talk, more reassurance that this is something other than a paid arrangement. Within minutes, Mrs. Cartwright returns with Mr. Hamilton. "Mary, would you be kind enough to show Mr. Hamilton to your room? I believe you'll find plenty to talk about." Her wording suggests that conversation is part of the arrangement, not uncommon with educated clients. You rise again, smiling warmly. "Would you care for some sherry first, Mr. Hamilton? Or shall we go straight upstairs?" "I'd enjoy a glass," he replies. His accent confirms your guess educated, likely upper middle class. You pour 2 small glasses from the decanter, offering him one with a practiced movement that lets your fingers brush his, a calculated touch to establish first contact. His slight smile and a moment of eye contact confirm he's comfortable with it. The conversation begins with light topics: the unseasonably cold weather, a recent concert he attended at Albert Hall, a comment on the growing traffic in London. You listen with attention, offering just enough insight to stay engaging without threatening his sense of being the more knowledgeable speaker. It's a familiar routine guiding the exchange without appearing to, making him feel interesting and appreciated. Your posture and gestures help build this impression. A slight forward lean to show interest, eye contact, well-timed smiles, all practiced, but done with enough genuine attention to seem natural. When his glass is empty, you set yours down, half full. You never drink much while working. "Shall we continue our conversation somewhere more comfortable, Mr. Hamilton?" He stands. "Lead the way, my dear. Your room is on the 2nd floor, at the back of the house. Small but arranged for comfort and intimacy. The bed larger and more elaborate than your owner's, neatly made with fresh linens and extra pillows. A modest fire warms the space. The washstand holds clean towels, fresh water, and good soap. A folding screen offers a bit of privacy for undressing. The gas lamp is turned low for a soft, flattering light. A small vase of hothouse flowers adds color and scent and indulgence. Mrs. Cartwright finds worthwhile. Mr. Hamilton looks around approvingly. "Charming," he comments. "Quite charming, thank you," you reply, gently closing the door. "Please, make yourself comfortable." What follows is typical. More conversation, growing gradually more personal. The slow shift from talking to touching, the silent negotiation of what will and won't happen. The act itself is performed with skill and apparent interest. Mr. Hamilton is a considerate client, not rough, not demanding, and aware of mutual comfort. Even within this paid context, when it's over, he doesn't immediately leave. He stays, one arm draped over your waist, lying beside you in the rumpled sheets. "You're very good at this," he says after a while, his tone thoughtful rather than crude. "Thank you," you answer simply. No need for false modesty. "You are good, having learned this work as seriously as you once learned sewing. How did you come to be here?" he asks. His voice is curious, not judgmental. "If you don't mind me asking, you seem different from what I expected." This question is common. New clients often want a story, one that fits a certain fantasy: the seduced girl, the fallen woman, the passionate for society. You could easily give one, but something about his tone, genuine interest rather than idle curiosity, makes you lean closer to the truth. "I was a seamstress," you say evenly, "but the pay wasn't enough. 16-hour days, bad light, bleeding fingers in winter, and still not enough for rent and food." You pause, the memory's distant. This pays better. The hours are shorter. The conditions are easier. He's silent for a moment, thoughtful. "A practical, economic decision, then." "Yes," you reply, though not one society tends to see that way. This reflection seems to interest him. He props himself on one elbow, studying you. "Do you find it strange that what is, at its heart, a business deal, is treated with such moral judgment?" The discussion continues in that vein: economics, morality, gender roles. It's unusual, but welcome. Being spoken to as a person with thoughts, not just a body, is rare. You engage fully, offering more of your intelligence than you usually show to clients. Eventually, the hallway clock chimes. Time is almost up. Mr. Hamilton sighs, then smiles. "I've spent more time talking than planned," he says as he gathers his clothes. "Though I don't regret it." "Nor do I," you reply honestly. "It's been a surprisingly pleasant visit. You're welcome to return any time." The usual farewell line feels more sincere than usual. He seems like someone who might become a regular, respectful, clean, interesting, and likely able to afford it. He dresses neatly, not rushing. Once dressed, he pulls a small coin from his waistcoat pocket and places it on the table. "Extra payment for the conversation, as much as anything," he says. The gesture, placing it on the table instead of handing it to you, feels polite, less transactional. "Thank you," you say, leaving the coin untouched for now. "That was genuinely interesting." He nods, clearly pleased. "Perhaps I'll return next week, if it suits." "I'd be delighted," you replied. The usual words again, but said with meaning. He smiles, gives a small bow, and leaves. You hear his footsteps on the stairs and Mrs. Winter's greeting him, ensuring he leaves discreetly. Alone again. You begin your after-client routine: washing, changing linens, resetting the room. Your body knows the steps well. Stripping the bed, washing up, laying out fresh sheets. It's efficient, nearly meditative. The encounter lingers in your mind, not just the physical part, but the genuine conversation. Most men want fantasy and release, not real talk, but it's wise not to read too much into it. He paid for your time like anyone else. Choosing to spend some of that time talking doesn't change what the arrangement is. This clear view isn't bitter, it's just honest. You've lasted in this work by knowing what's real and what isn't. That clarity protects you. The room restored. You check your reflection. No major repairs needed. Just a few pins, adjusted, a crease, smoothed, a touch of rouge, refreshed. Before heading back down, you pause to center yourself. You stand still, feet firm on the floor, eyes closed, deep breaths through the nose, out the mouth, letting your ribs expand, shoulders relax, jaw soften. A moment of stillness to separate one encounter from the next. This breath, this moment yours, alone. You feel the floor beneath your feet, the air on your skin, the rhythm of your breath. Present, grounded, whole. The hallway clock chimes the half hour. You open your eyes, inhale once more, and move toward the door. The silk dress whispers. As you walk, your hand on the knob is steady. You're poised, composed, ready for whoever comes next. The house has fully entered its evening rhythm. As you descend, you hear voices from behind closed doors, soft laughter, the clink of glassware. Business is in motion, the quiet exchange of want and fulfillment, of illusion and truth. In the parlor, Lily is tidying between visits, straightening cushions, arranging glasses. She looks up when you enter, smiling. There you are. How was the banker? Cook was right. Did you see that gold watch chain? You smile, settling beside her on the sofa. He was fine, talkative, intelligent. Might become a regular. She nods, understanding all that's unsaid. Lucky you. I had old Mr. Watson again, you know. Peppermint breath and wandering hands. Wheezes like a train. That one. This shared talk is part professional, part camaraderie. There's comfort in it, no explanations needed, no judgment, just mutual understanding among women in the same life. The fire has burned lower, casting a gentler glow. Lily adds a log, her motions practiced. The flames flare briefly, then settle again. You watch the fire flicker, your gaze softening, your thoughts quieting. The room smells of wood smoke, cherry, perfume, and flowers. Familiar, grounding. Your body feels used but not tired. The corset supports gently. The silk dress wraps you softly. Slippers replace heavy shoes. Your feet tucked under you, relaxed. This peaceful break between clients is yours. No role to play, no demands to meet. Just you, resting in the soft light, surrounded by warmth and stillness. Lily settles beside you again. Quiet for November, she says. Think the rain scared them off. You nod toward the curtained window, where rain still taps faintly on the glass. Maybe. But it might pick up later after the theater's let out. Understanding business patterns is part of the job. Weather, paydays, city events all affect how the night goes. The conversation drifts against to Emily's new dress, Josephine's, recovery, Cook's, Sunday dinner. Normal things. Household talk. Time passes quietly. The clock ticks. The fire glows. Your body is at ease. Your mind calm. You breathe with the house's rhythm. The murmurs, the creaks, the rustle of fabric as Lily shifts. Then the front door knocks. You and Lily sit up slightly. Awareness returning. Mrs. Cartwright's voice greets someone in the hall. Then she enters the parlor, her eyes finding you. Mary, a gentleman has asked for you. Are you available? You rise, the dress settling gently around you. Your body feels rested, prepared. Of course, Mrs. Cartwright. She nods, and you follow her into the hallway. Where the next customer waits. As you walk forward, you're aware of the steady precision of your steps, the soft sway of your skirt, and the deep, even rhythm of your breathing. Grounded, present, focused in your body in this moment, ready for whatever comes next. Moving calmly into the unfolding evening. The evening continues in its measured rhythm, one customer after another. Each interaction carefully paced. Some faces are familiar, others new. Some encounters are brief and straightforward, others more layered. Through it all, you maintain your professional presence, attentive, pleasant, and seemingly delighted by each man's company. Regardless of how you actually feel, by 11, a natural lull settles. The early customers have left, and the late-night visitors, those coming from the theaters or gentlemen's clubs, have not yet arrived. The house grows quieter. The girls gather in the kitchen for a light supper and a comforting cup of tea. The kitchen at this hour has its own kind of charm. The main cooking is done, but the big range still gives off a pleasant heat. The air smells of fresh bread and the evening's beef stew, with a trace of soap from the dishes and the faint cold smoke that lingers throughout London. Cook has gone to bed. Her workday starts early, but she's left out bread, cheese, cold meat, and a fruit tart for the girls. You ease into a chair at the table, the solid wood grounding your tired body. You're weary, but not worn out. Body has worked, but not past comfort. The chair supports you, and you allow yourself to finally relax. That Emily is already seated. picking at a modest meal of bread and cheese. Her green silk dress is slightly wrinkled, and her styled hair is beginning to fall from its pins. The signs of the evening's work show in these small details, small slips in the image perfected hours earlier. Busy night, you ask, reaching for a plate. She nods, chewing a bite. For so far, and Mrs. Cartwright says, a group might be coming later. Some club men. Lily enters, catching the last part. I heard that too. Private room at the George. 6, maybe 8. The news brings mixed feelings. More clients mean more income, but also more work when you're already feeling the day's weight. Still, this is the nature of the job. You arrange some bread, cheese, and cold beef on your plate. Simple, hearty food. Satisfying. No need to perform while eating it. Sarah joins the table, carrying the teapot from the warm edge of the range. The familiar ritual unfolds: tea poured, milk and sugar offered, the first warming sip taken. The tea is strong and sweet, reviving you after hours of calculated smiles and careful charm. Conversation at the table is casual, quiet. No one has much energy for deep talk. Just light remarks, brief complaints, a few small stories from the night's clients. It's a comfort, this quiet understanding among women who share the same life, who need no explanations. You feel yourself loosen more. The tea warms your chest. The food eases your hunger. The company allows your social mask to drop a little. You breathe deeper. Shoulders sink slightly. You settle. Too soon. The piece ends. Mrs. Winters appears at the kitchen door. Her usual serious look, perhaps a bit sharper. They're here, she says. 6 from the club dinner. Mrs. Cartwright wants everyone in the parlor now. A collective sigh rises, but is quickly suppressed. Duty calls. Plates are pushed aside, tea drained, quick checks made of hair and clothes. The brief rest ends. Focus returns. In the parlor, Mrs. Cartwright is already engaging the new guests. 6 men, as expected, ranging from early 30s to perhaps 60. All in evening wear, showing signs of a long dinner. Slightly loosened ties, waistcoats with wine stains. Their voices are louder than usual, their laughter more frequent. Wine and company, making them bolder than solo clients. Mrs. Cartwright looks up as you and the others enter. Her face remains perfectly professional. Ah, here are the ladies now. Gentlemen, may I introduce Emily, Lily, Sarah, and Mary. I'm sure their company will be most agreeable. What follows is a more involved process. Multiple clients, multiple girls. Preferences must be sorted. Men may favor a certain look or manner. Girls have their own limits or specialties. Mrs. Cartwright handles the delicate pairing with practiced ease, ensuring everyone is content. You're paired with one of the younger men, perhaps 32 or 33. Dark hair, slightly receding, a neat mustache. He introduces himself as Edward, speaking with the careful tone of someone managing their wine intake. And may I say, the blue of your dress is most becoming. Delighted, he says, bowing over your hand. Absolutely delighted. You plan your approach. You smile. Thank him with practiced charm. The compliment is standard, but there is enough warmth in his voice to suggest sincerity, or at least that he believes it in the moment. Your mind is already at work. Slightly drunk but functional. Cheerful but not pushy. Likely Meredith. Pair of fingers shows a ring recently removed. The conversation follows the usual pattern-like topics first, then more personal remarks, gentle flirtation, soft touches. Your body responds as trained. The right smile, the appropriate response, a calculated closeness that suggests interest without rushing. Eventually, the group reaches its turning point. Like a rehearsed play, couples rise, heading to the stairs. Each girl leads her client to a room. The air smells of sex, cologne, and a faint trace of lavender. Not unpleasant, just part of the job's physical reality. Rain begins again, tapping against the glass. Sounds drift through the house, voices, footsteps, the groan of and for the experience that lets him return to his life with needs met and pride intact. The evening with Edward is unremarkable, neither difficult nor especially pleasant. Your body knows these movements, performs them efficiently, while your mind drifts. Each man asks for different parts of you, different attention, different performance. The work is done, the income earned. You've met the demands of the day. Technically morning, though the city sleeps on. Rain falls harder now, thunder rumbling in the distance. The weight of all of it settles into a deep tiredness. He's too affected by drink to prolong it, too traditional to request anything strange. When finished, he dozes lightly beside you. The last clients are gone. I don't expect more. Not in this weather. You stay still for a few minutes. The room is warm from the fire and activity. You feel your body's usual post-encounter state, the stickiness of skin, the mild ache in muscles, the slow return of breath. Your hair has slipped again. The makeup mostly faded, still presentable, but far from the polished figure who began the night. Edward stirs awake with a start. "Oh," he says. I do apologize." "Not at all," you reply smoothly. "You seemed peaceful. I didn't want to wake you." He smiles, grateful for your kindness. The rest follows the usual script. Brief, slightly awkward talk. Shared space untangled. Clothes reclaimed. You help with his cravat. Your fingers practiced. He thanks you genuinely for the small service, the larger one. Once he's gone, you begin the usual reset. Wash, change linens, tidy the room. It's been a long day from early morning wake-up, through chores, a doctor's visit, afternoon work, and a string of evening clients. But it's not unpleasant. This is the kind of fatigue that brings satisfaction. Your body is worn but not hurt. Your mind is tired but calm. The hallway clock chimes 1. You finish resetting the room and check your appearance. The blue silk dress shows its wear wrinkled, slightly loose. Downstairs, the parlor is nearly empty. Only Mrs. Cartwright remains, finishing notes in her ledger. She looks up. "That's all for tonight, Mary," she says, her voice low with fatigue. Relief washes through you. You may finally put the night behind you. "Thank you, Mrs. Cartwright. Do you need help before I go up?" She shakes her head, closing the book. "No. Mrs. Winters secured the house. Cook will manage in the morning." She rises, smoothing her gown. Good night, Mrs. Cartwright." This simple exchange marks the shift from professional to private. You climb the stairs, each step heavier than earlier. Your body now fully aware of its need for rest. The 2 narrow beds, the plain chest of drawers, the simple washstand. Here, life is quieter. The bedroom you share with Lily welcomes you. No clients enter this space. It's your own. Lily is already seated, brushing her long auburn hair. She smiles as you enter. "Finished for the night?" she asks. "Yes, thank God," Mrs. Cartwright says. "That's all." Storms rolling in. You begin undressing. Your hands work in the fastenings automatically despite their fatigue. "How was your evening?" you ask. She shrugs. "The usual. Nothing much to tell. The last one tipped well. No more detail is needed." You both understand what lies behind the words. It's enough. You peel off the silk dress with relief. The corset follows. Your lungs expand at last. Cool air touches your skin, a private pleasure. Your nightgown is plain and soft. Familiar. Comforting. No need to impress. You let down your hair and begin brushing. The strokes slow and soothing. The tug gentle on your scalp. "Do you ever wonder," Lily asks, her voice quiet in the low lamplight, "what a different life would be like? At least here, we eat, we're warm, we have some say." These questions often come late at night, when you're too tired to guard against them. You're not surprised. I guess it's not good or bad, just different kinds of heart. Different prices. Sometimes, you admit, but I remember how things were before. The hunger, the cold, the fear of the workhouse. Shelter, rest. She nods. Breathing deepens. The sheets are cool, warming with your body's heat. The mattress is lumpy, but familiar. Your muscles ease into stillness. That's better. In-out-deep.com. Each breath draws you closer to sleep. Yes, You agree. Different prices. This shared thought is comforting. A clear view of your world, not romantic, not hopeless, just true. The choice is available to women like you. The conversation shifts to daily matters. Plans for tomorrow. Laundry. Deliveries. Simple things. Steadying things. The winds sigh a soft song. At last, you blow out the lamp and slip into bed. You see beyond today's struggles, society, but the shape of the experience stays the same. You feel connected to all the women before you, those who lived similar lives, made similar choices. The storm outside has grown. Rain taps steadily at the glass, wind rattling now and then. But inside is warmth. Your eyes close. Night, Mary Lily whispers. Good night, Lily, you mumble back, sleep already pulling at your voice. The day fades. Specific memories blur. Just impressions remain, sensations, feelings. You become aware of the blanket's weight, the pillow's softness, the heaviness of your limbs. Breathing slows further. The rain and thunder become a lullaby. You float at the edge of sleep, not fully dreaming, not fully awake. Somewhere in between, in this drifting space, a kind of clarity comes. Yours is just one path, but not a lonely one. Not the first, not the last. The details change: fashion, money, safe, at peace. There's comfort in that. You let go completely. Nothing more to do. Nothing more to be. Just rest. Just sleep. Let yourself drift all the way down now. Each breath takes you deeper. Warm. The day is done. Sleep now. Sleep well.